Hi, Leilani. Welcome to the Retail Whore Podcast.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you on the podcast, and I'm so excited to tell people your story because you had like the idyllic childhood. But before I get to that, tell everybody about, I haven't asked this question in a while and I kind of miss it, so I'm going back to it.
Okay.
Is how old were you when you first started working, and what was your first job?
Okay. So I was 14 and a half when I first started working. I got a worker's permit so I could work. And my sister managed a Roxy store, Roxy Quicksilver store.
Wow.
She's 8 years older than me. So it was like, she was the manager and I was like just getting into high school as a freshman. And I worked there and she taught me, like, I swear, like my sister's like so intense. So she like taught me my like work ethic.
I love it.
Phones, like all of the things. And I was like, since then I've been like such a serious like worker.
I think honestly, like that gives you the best skill set you could go into retail with, because I know that my background is I was with Fred Siegel for a long time. He was my mentor, and it's like Fred ruled with an iron fist. Like we weren't even allowed to chew gum on the floor. I mean, he was strict as hell. So it's, and now what I realize is that same work ethic that he instilled in us, obviously your sister instilled in you, still have.
I know. And I really like appreciate it. I feel like, I don't know, the times have changed. It's interesting now, like that I am a millennial, but now all of a sudden, like my employees are a different generation, which is the first time since we've owned a business that's happened. So it's really interesting because I feel like it's just a different perspective on things. And I feel like the work ethic is different. It's not bad or, it's just different.
Yeah. I don't think the same, it's somebody had said a long time ago, like wearing your stress and how much you work and how over you is not a badge. And I feel like this new generation is not all about like, all work and grind and hustle. They're really more about the environment and about social things and
like self-care. Like what a concept.
Yeah. And I think there's, although I will say it does, when you are this mindset, the hustle, the go, like it's very challenging to find somebody to work with you or for you that matches that same ethic and that same, like, because that's what I want. Like, that's what I need for my business, is to have somebody, who's just as much of a hustler and that passionate about it and still care about the environment and whatnot. But I think I always look to and that's definitely a different working ethic now. This age group, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Gen Z.
Yeah. Is that what it is? I'm 57. So I don't even remember I think I'm Gen.
I know. It's like, I feel like now it's like people talk about these kind of things all the time. Yeah, I know. It's challenging. I feel like that's probably the most challenging part. I mean, there's so many things that are hard, but yeah.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your brand. And then I really want to get into, how you guys started this company, but how you and your partner go all the way back to very, very little.
Okay. Well, I wish Ariel was here today. She actually works from home on Monday, and she was like, she and I are so different. So I love all this kind of stuff. And she's like, I just want to be behind the scenes, like organizing doing the books, so we really complement each other. So Ariel's not here, but my name's Leilani, and our business is called Botanic and Luxe. We are in Santa Cruz, California, and we opened our shop 6.5 years ago in the spring of 2016. And yeah, it's been such a amazing learning experience, learning curve, really.
Did you have a retail store before this?
No. So besides the, jobs we had in high school and here and there, neither of us have a background in retail as adults. I worked in restaurants before.
Well, you had your sister with Roxy.
Yeah, totally. I had these little jobs that we honestly would have been, I think, easier if we had more of a background in retail. So yeah, we just have been kind of winging it.
So tell everybody about how you both met and your what I call an idyllic childhood, because I
Yeah.
read your bio and I'm like, oh my God.
I know, we're so grateful to have each other. Ariel and we met when we were like, I was 6 months old, she was 1 year old, and our moms were in like a little like moms group together, and we met on Kaua'i. That's where we both grew up. And we've just always been best friends. Like she's always been like my person. And when we were little, I felt like we were different than like our other friends. Like we were like, let's make money. Like we were like wanting, like people were like, you guys are entrepreneurs. And we're like, we don't know what that means, but okay. People always tell us that. And we would be like, you know, on Kaua'i, what we would do, we'd sell flowers, and we would go and like around the neighborhood and cut down like beautiful, like ginger and heliconia and all these tropical flowers and sell them on the side of the road to tourists.
Oh my God.
And that was like, we were like really serious about that.
No
So we'd make leis, and, you know, we were always like, that's what we were doing. So we kind of knew that we would someday start a business together.
So how old were you when you were selling that on the sides? I have to go to where you were in age for that.
Yeah, probably like 7 or 8.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, like
So
really young.
then that's technically your first job.
Yeah, that was technically, yes, exactly. I mean, we made like kind of a lot of money.
That's amazing.
Yeah, our dream was to save up for a Barbie car. And like, that's what we wanted. And then when we finally saved up enough money, you know, like whatever, $150, we didn't fit in them anymore. We're like, wait, what?
I'll interrupt you for 1 second. I told the story because I had completely forgotten about it. One of our guests had said what they did, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, I'm like, oh my God, I used to tear people's plants out of their yards and shove them into my mom's pots and sell them.
Oh my God, totally. No, that's like what we would do.
Yeah, but pulling them out of the forest and pulling them out of your neighbor's yard, a little different.
Yeah, totally. And on Kaua'i, things grow quick. So
oh, it's so beautiful there. So you guys grew up together. When did you both come to mainland together, or did you both come separately and
separately, but sort of together? So Ariel went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, and right after high school, and I took a year off and worked and traveled as a nanny. And then after that year, I moved, and we both lived in San Luis Obispo together. And so we lived there. And then I was there for a couple years, and then I moved to Santa Cruz.
So when you guys decided to open the store, was it, how did you guys make this jump? Because that's not a small commitment, opening a store, especially if you've never really been in retail.
Yeah, exactly. So basically we had both, Ariel became a licensed landscape architect, and she was working in that industry. And, you know, it was always like one of her dreams to pursue that. And once she had been doing it, it didn't really feel like quite the right fit. I had been to school for nutrition, but I was working in restaurants, and I just wanted to I just knew that I wanted to start my own business. I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to be. So she and I just started planning. Like, I was in Santa Cruz. She at that point had moved to Santa Barbara. So we were just kind of started brainstorming this idea and how we'd make it work and where we would live, basically, to open up our business. At the time, we were wanting it to be kind of like a mix between like a cafe that has like smoothies and coffee and like little bites with a retail store. And at first we're like, let's just start with retail, because that's obviously going to be so easy. And then we'll do the other part. And like, lo and behold, like here we are, like so busy just trying to figure out like having one shop. But
so tell everybody about what is, because your shop is beautiful. Like I found you through Instagram, but it's like, you guys have this beautiful lifestyle store, but you have different elements, but the plant part of it is a very big portion of it, I'm assuming.
Totally. So yeah, we've always called it a lifestyle shop. We sell home goods, indoor plants, and gifts. We also a big portion of our sales are natural skincare and jewelry. So it's really such a mix, and it's basically all of these things that we've curated to have in our shop that we feel like all fits together. It's earthy, it's luxurious, like our name, and it's high quality and something that like everything that's in our shop, like we vouch for. Like we've tried all the products, we love all the home goods, so it's basically, we're like in some ways like the face of the brand, and this is, what we love.
So when you guys first started with the concept, did it start as this, or is it kind of morphed into this lifestyle?
Definitely morphed. It's been interesting because when we first opened, we had some plants, and we've always said from the start that our favorite home accent is plants. So we weren't like, we're a plant shop. We just were home goods, gift store, etc., that had plants because we think they're the cutest home accent. So we quickly realized that plants became like our best seller, plants and pots. So that became, out of all of our categories, plants and pots together were 50% of what we sold.
Wow.
So we just kept on growing that category, and it, became really successful for us because we were sort of right, 7 years ago at the point of when houseplants were getting really like big again.
Yeah.
So we had really good timing. And then through the pandemic, of course, everyone got into plants then. So we were so lucky enough to actually grow our business through the pandemic and increase our sales because of plants and pots. And it's interesting because now that we're sort of, at another end of the pandemic, we're feeling like,
I hope so.
I know, right? All of a sudden, our store is almost something that we never imagined it to be. Like people are like, oh, Botanic and Luxe, the plant shop. And for us, like, we're like, no, like, we're not a plant shop. Like we're like a home goods store, but we have plants. But then we look around and we're like, whoa, we have a lot of plants. Like this is crazy. Like, how did this happen? But we did it all. Like we made all the moves to do it, but we're actually, I think this year, just kind of after everything that, everyone's been through the pandemic and just kind of like looking at it all and realizing like what we want, like we've decided that we want to do like a brand refresh and just sort of like reel in the narrative about like what we want our store to really be, even though we're so grateful that the plants have been so successful. We're really more passionate about like the home goods and the skincare and, jewelry and things as well. So
funny how it morphed into that. I mean, I will say, I don't know. Do you follow the Plant Queen, Kween?
No,
He's
I
this
should.
fabulous gay man
I
I
love
think
it.
he's in New York, but he's
Okay.
like super famous about like,
okay, I feel like now I've heard of him. Yeah.
his green girls, as he calls them.
Okay, I
But
love it.
I mean, he's fabulous. He's like one of my most favorite, but
Oh
the
my gosh.
boom of plants is crazy. And it's, the fact that it's driving your business. So how, because this is interesting to me, because I think a lot of people that just open a store are relatively new to retail, even though you're not really new to retail. But I think, do you guys go by reports on
We
your
do.
POS system? Okay, that's great. Because I think so many people open stores. I have a ton of people I work with that don't run their reports and don't pay attention to them. And I think for you guys, and when you had said, still trying to figure it out, just the fact that you're going by your reports and you're seeing that plants are driving your business was hugely smart. Because a lot of people who've been in retail for a long time don't even use reports at all. And everyone's always like, oh, I know what sells. I'm all, trust me, it's totally different on paper.
It really is. Luckily, like we do, and Ariel's really into like running the reports and all the analytics and all of that. And it's so crazy. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But other times you're like, wow, that's insane. And actually at the beginning of the year, plant sales are sort of going down everywhere all of a sudden, all these like plant boutiques that opened up, and it just got so like, they're just everywhere, like everywhere sells plants. And it's just, everyone has plants, everyone wants to travel, they're not buying plants as much. So we started seeing our plant sales go way down. So they went basically cut in like half.
Wow.
Yes, in like the beginning of the year. And we were also at that same time, like I was saying, feeling like we're like, oh, this is like kind of gotten away from us, this whole like brand and this vision of not only wanting to be seen as a plant store. So it was really nice to see the numbers and that they reflected how we were feeling. And we're still like running with that. At that time, we're like, okay, so if plant sales are down, what are we going to invest our money in our, what inventory category are we going to invest in to help grow that if plant sales are down? So we decided we were going to invest in jewelry and home goods and, take that allocated money and put it there instead of in plants. And we were able to grow our jewelry. We bought in, more expensive pieces and do a few things. And it was like cool to really look at those numbers and kind of move things around in that way.
I think that's smart. I think again, like I think a lot of people make decisions based on gut and what they love. And it's like, I mean, I just was with a client yesterday and they're like, yeah, we bought it because we loved it. And it hasn't sold. And,
I know, it's so hard.
And they don't use reports either. So I'm forcing them now to pull reports and they're like, God, it's eye-opening. And it's like, I personally, because I'm not a number person and I hated school, but because of my time in anthropology and because everything we did was based on those reports, now I'm like fanatic about them. And also it's like almost like, I don't know, it's like a Bible in some sense. It should be on how you spend and what direction you're going to go to build your business, because if not, I feel like you're just kind of flying blind.
I don't know how people do it otherwise. So where are you based out of, Michelle?
I'm in Redondo Beach.
Okay,
So
cool.
most of my clients are like LA, because I do wholesale showroom setups and I do retailers. So it's most of Southern California. I have a couple of retailers that are out of state that I do a lot of designing for, and then we do Zoom calls, and then I fly out at some point.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so fun.
But it's that report thing. It's like, what POS system do you guys work on?
So we use Square and we pull a lot of reports from there, and it's really helpful. But we also use something, it's called the Open to Buy. And basically, when we first started our business, we started working with the Small Business Development Center. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They're amazing. So I think that they're throughout the country, but there are a few locations in California, and there's one in Santa Cruz. And basically, if you are a small business, you can use their services for free and get connected with these like specialists who can help you in all different areas of your business. We have worked with basically people in HR, when we needed help reading a lease.
Wow, that's
so many things.
Small business development.
Yeah, SBDC, Small Business Development Center, and they're incredible. So we, from the start, have basically been working with their retail specialist who helps you with your cash flow. And he has all these Excel sheets and all this stuff. And he has his Open to Buy that he's set up so we can put in, our projected sales goals, and then have all of our categories, and then how much we plan to spend that month.
Yeah.
In the different, it's so helpful.
It's funny because I've had two Open to Buy people on the podcast who are the coolest people. They're not scary numbers people. And I think what happens is a lot of people, because I'm introducing them to a couple of our clients. And first thing people I think worry about is they're going to tell me what I can't buy. And they're going to tell me, they're going to tell me I can't have my Starbucks every day. And and it's unless your Starbucks habit is that out of control, but usually they really are going to be guiding you to what you should be buying. And I've only had one client that I've talked to, and she's like, I stopped using them because, to be honest, it was taking all the joy out of what I do. I love buying what I want to buy. And she was telling me, no, I need to buy something. She's like, it just took all the joy out of it. But it's honestly numbers and knowing you're open to buy. And that's one thing, just that phrase, open to buy, I hate to say there is a lot of retailers that don't know what their open to buy is. And it's not a scary thing. And I think it only makes your business stronger because it's, you know, it's guiding you by the numbers.
Totally. And there's like so much freedom in some ways in that, you know, I mean, I feel like if your money is all, if your cash is tied up in all this inventory that's not moving, like your business can go down
100%.
really
quick. It's did they advise you also, I'm guessing it's like, okay, it's time to put this on sale, or you have an excess amount of this, or?
I feel like we've just been basically like taught to look at these things, and he's, you know, told us like if they don't sell within 3 months, you know, just put it on sale. It's, you know, hard to like swallow, and we have these little things that we, you know, remember to do. We don't work with them like on, we see them maybe like twice a year now when we have like questions just about like, you know, the business in general, but it's a pretty easy system to use.
It's a
and we
great
just
resource, and it's free.
It's free. Yeah.
We're gonna,
yeah.
For everybody listening, we will attach a link for this because I think that that's a great tool, and I've never heard of it. So that's, I mean, SBA, everyone knows, but I haven't heard of SBDC.
Yeah, they're awesome. And our business advisor who I was talking about, he's created his own app of the open to buy. And I think it's like $49 a month. Like,
that's
I'm
smart.
not here to like plug that in, but I think it's like the most worth it tool you could use if managing your cash is a challenge for you.
Yeah, if you want, if you will email me his information, then we'll have that link in there. Cause I'm all about like this podcast when I started was to talk to other retailers and hear what they're doing. And this is a perfect case in point of like, I just want to like, we're all in the same boat. And I feel like all retailers are facing the same problems. And most of you are all in your stores. You don't get out that often. You do get out and you do the shows, and then you're in your own bubble. But this whole podcast was based on being entertaining, but also at the same time, like giving people tools and information. And that was a great nugget.
Oh, yay. Well, I love it. And I'm so excited about your podcast, and I've listened to a few. I can't wait to listen to them all.
Oh my God. Some of them I go off on a tangent.
I can't wait for that.
I just recorded one the other day. He was with me. We were all at Z Gallery together. So ours was Life After Z Gallery, and it was myself, my then manager, assistant manager, and then and Fabian, and he went off to work for IKEA and worked like major visual part. So he and I just did a merchandisers roundtable. So I'm really excited about that, because getting in the head of him and what he does, and he's so well he's so articulate about how he comes up with his concepts and what he forecasts out for display for, because he's with Vroman's now, which is this super famous bookstore that's in Pasadena. So it's been a fun journey, but it's just like this little nugget. It's like, oh my God, so many people hear so much. So tell me a little bit about your buying, like where are you doing the gift shows? Where are you finding a lot of people? Or tell me a little bit about some of the products that you sell and where are you finding?
So I feel like we have a unique, like, I don't know, approach to all buying and all of that, because we have actually only been to one show ever.
Wow.
And it was before we opened our shop. We went to the LA market, and that was the only show we've ever been to. I really do want to go to Vegas, and I would love to go to like the Atlanta and like all those big shows, or New York. That'd be so fun. But to be honest, most of the goods we carry in the store are from small makers, so they don't do the shows. There are people we find on Instagram, people who reach out to us, you know, just basically like word of mouth. And
so you don't really have any big box lines. You have all like
really, we have like a few of our like planters are, you know, bigger companies like Accent Decor and like Bloomingville, and some of those kind of like larger companies. But a lot of our companies that we work with are small. They're other small businesses.
I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really rewarding.
I mean, because you're really truly curating something. It's not, I mean, you're curating when you go to the show, but I feel like
Yeah.
when you're buying such small lines, like you're really curating. And plus you're, giving back to another, you're going back into another support for another small business.
Yeah, it's been really great. I mean, it's just been really fun, like just connecting with all these makers and other small businesses and getting to know them over the years and all of that. It's been really fun.
So tell me I get to ask you questions that I haven't asked for a long time. So tell me
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the challenges that you guys have faced in your time. Well, wait, okay, I take it back. I want to ask you super fast about when everybody shut down during the pandemic.
Mhm.
How were you guys, I hate this word, pivoting?
Yeah. So luckily we had just redesigned a new website before the
Thank God.
pandemic started. So we had put in all that work, and um we like quickly realized that just getting things up online and sharing them on our Instagram was like so successful. It was kind of crazy timing. I had a baby on March 24th, 2020. And my business partner, Ariel, was pregnant at the time. So we were just like, what is happening? And we were basically just scrambling to sell things on Instagram. Like the store is shut. We weren't sure if we could like have our employees come back at the time, for those first like 4 to 6 weeks. And it was amazing. Our community in Santa Cruz is so supportive, and like around the Bay Area and like California, like people were like, it was so incredible to witness. Just like our phone was ringing like crazy. Like we had hundreds of DMs. Like we just like couldn't even keep up. Like we were
That's
just
amazing.
selling like all this stuff because we weren't able to get like a lot of new inventory in.
Yeah.
So it was like incredible how much like stuff that we got to sell that we like had a hard time moving. Like,
Yeah, I've said that because the same thing happened for the pharmacy that I buy for, is that that first Christmas, or no, the last year's Christmas, where really we were back at shows, and that's what really where that you could see the writing on the wall for the supply chain. And it was like I had all of this Christmas stuff ordered, and it was like I got two two things off my purchase order. So we had to like make older stuff look like Christmas. And it was an interesting exercise, because the amount of merchandise that we sold that was both not holiday but also older merchandise that we'd had, and we reinvented and whatnot, how it sold out. I'm all, wow, that kind of worked out in a weird way. But
totally. It's such a testament to how you can merchandise and make your displays and craft your posts and stage things for them to be appealing. It's all just how the presentation of it all,
visual is everything. I mean, it's and the Instagram factor, I think, is what, for people that weren't on it, it's like, the people that were and took off with it and were comfortable with it, that's the amazing part, is that there's an account that I interviewed Barbara a while ago, Daisy's Mercantile, that's in Alameda, that cute little island. She was doing her window displays, and they would number things so people, because it's a little tiny downtown that's all walkable, so people were walking by and calling in and saying, how much is that? Yeah, it was amazing. But it's the community really supported. I mean, I think everybody's communities really supported like the small businesses. I mean, I think that's amazing.
I know, it was amazing. It was like the most like gratifying time in that way. Like, although it was like really challenging for so many reasons and so many things were unknown, it was just like we were just held by our community.
That's so great. So now, as you are now morphing into, kind of the plants not being front and forward, what are you is it more lifestyle that you're leaning towards? And
so we're actually looking to move locations, which we're really excited about. And we just want to kind of refresh. Like, we've done so well in our current location. But it's always been like, I think most people would look at where we are because we're on a side street in downtown Santa Cruz, and there's no other retail around us. So we've made this like destination almost in a downtown, and it wasn't like necessarily like a great spot, but it was affordable. We didn't, made all the displays ourselves. We didn't hire anyone for anything.
Wow.
Like, our shop is beautiful when you're in it, but when you really look at it, you're like, pallet furniture,
But you know what? I mean, it's
Yeah.
like there's an organic beauty about that that's still my favorite, as opposed to like the polished and like the perfect.
For sure. I know it's been like, and we did it, and we're like really proud of that. And I think that we're kind of just ready to have like our dream shop, because like we just want to we're moving to a spot really close to us. So we're still in downtown, but it's just like high ceilings, like huge windows, like just open, like a gorgeous, retail space to take over. And I'm excited just to kind of switch up a few of the kind of like tones and like few of like the vibes we have in here. So yeah, we'll have a little bit less plants, but still continue to have them as like our accent, and to just not have them take over our entire shop, just have them in places where, you would set them in your home, and, have them be more of like, I don't know, just easier to be like, cool, I'll just get that combo there instead of like so many choices. And I think we're going to invest more in jewelry, more solid gold pieces, and just keep on growing our home goods. I feel like that's just an area that we just, can't ever get enough, it feels like.
I know. That's my favorite department out of any. I mean, it's the pharmacy. I'm not able to do that much there because we just don't. There's some pharmacies that do an amazing job with it, but our number one is apparel. But home goods and home furnishings and tabletop is definitely where I'm much more. I'm drawn to. If I ever have a store again, I'm feeling that's what it would end up being.
Yeah, totally. I know. I'm really excited, and it feels like, I don't know, like sort of inevitable, I think, when you get to a certain point in like having a shop that you feel like you want to do something new. And we have done so much thinking about what that would look like and why we're feeling this itch. And ultimately, like, we love our brand. We love so many things about what we've created. We just kind of want to take like a little pivot and like refresh, and it's going to be fun.
When do you start this process?
So we are starting it now. We were in like negotiations for a lease, because I feel like it's just a time where you can negotiate leases because of just the COVID landscape still, and people just being scared to open up retail stores. So that's been a process. We were going to open the shop October 1st, but it's getting pushed back a little bit. So we'll probably open up our, new location, not new location, but reopen the store in November or December this year.
What I have to ask, because it's my favorite time of year, what does holiday look like for Botanic and Luxe?
Yeah, well, it's definitely our busiest time of year. And it's so fun because we get to invest like so much in inventory, which is like my favorite, because we do follow like the open to buy, and like we're so good about not overbuying. So when we have like, those big sale projections, we can just bring in like so much and like bring in so many new things. It's our time of year that we, introduce new artists and new lines and all of these things that we were like, maybe on the fence about. We get to see how they do. It feels like a time that feels more creative in our buying. And we get to see what sells and what moves, in a time that just like anything seems to move and sell in the holidays.
Do you guys do traditional decor, or do you do Christmas decor at all? Or do you keep it kind of minimal?
Really, I think that each year we try to kind of go with like some tones. Like we'll be like, okay, let's do a lot of like white in like our like buying of like planters and like certain things. And then like, let's add in some gold accents here. And we don't really, because we sell plants, those become such a big part of the displays that we don't really do like, I don't know, we don't really make these big installations.
It's really about the product and the colors.
Yeah, it's mostly just, we'll be like, hey, we're going to buy these planters that are these colors, and, just kind of like go with that and go with sort of like a color scheme in that way.
I love that, the subtlety of holiday. And then it's not just, left for people that celebrate Christmas. Then it's like,
Totally.
Hanukkah and other
Yeah.
holidays that,
Exactly. We always try to go neutral in that way.
Tell me a little bit about what, well, I always ask these last two questions is, tell me how, because you both are busy, you're obviously, you have a young daughter, and did your partner have her baby yet?
She did. Yeah. He's almost 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And our babies are the same months apart as we are.
So oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I know.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So what does, how do you both, or how do you find inspiration and balance? Like if you're looking to change your store, like where do you look to for inspiration? And then how do you find balance with having a store and being a mom? And
yeah. So I'll answer the balance question first. And I remember when I was pregnant, I was talking to this girl I know who has 3 kids. And she said, she's like, I never like really felt balanced until I had kids. And I was like, oh, that's really like an interesting perspective, because it seems like, it's really hard to balance like your life and, this totally new direction. But I kind of like relate to that in some ways, because I feel like I used to just work all the time. All I used to, before I had my daughter, all I did was work, like 10 to 14 hours a day, because I could, and it was so unbalanced.
yeah,
and I just like, now that like, I feel like it's so important to me to create a balanced life, like for my family. Now I'm like, wow, I feel much more balanced. Like I'm going to like the beach after work, and I'm take weekends off now. And it's like, I need my time with her. It's so precious to me. Yeah. And I feel like in that way, I do feel more balanced, but at the same time, I just like also feel like, does like balance even exist when you have kids? I don't know.
But that's a beautiful way of putting it, that you've found balance in being a mom and stepping away from your business. And
it's given me more work-life balance for sure.
That is really an interesting perspective. I never even thought about it. I don't have children, so I don't have to compare it with. I have dogs.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like if I didn't, I would just be, and I do sometimes miss like working long hours and being able to.
Oh, no, you don't.
I know. Totally. I'm like, it is nice to have this. Yeah. For sure. I'm sorry, what was the other question?
The inspiration. So if you guys are, because anybody that's creative, I think that looks to, whether it be magazines or other stores, or just like, where are you finding your inspiration, or where do you look to for inspiration when you're looking to change things up, or when anything that creative wise, where are you finding it?
Yeah, I still feel like we find it on Instagram, just certain accounts that we follow, and whether it's like another shop or a brand that, is, whatever they make, and just following like these different accounts. Like what I do for our business account, Botanic and Luxe on Instagram, I only follow other businesses. So I can just like keep like the inspiration there for businesses that inspire, instead of having like, my friends and family and people on there to kind of get, it just makes it too loud. So it's really fun to have just a place where I can go, that I am intentionally going for inspiration.
I'm going to ask you your 3 top Instagram accounts that you follow.
Okay, let me think. Just today I was looking, I love the Floral Society.
Okay.
They're beautiful. Been loving them. I love this shop called Mana Shop. Manna. And who else have we been loving lately? I also really love Brooklyn Candle Co. or Candle Studio.
will list these
Yeah.
as well. Do you follow Pigment?
Yeah, I do. I love their shop.
I'm
So
obsessed
cute.
with their store. I mean, their
It's
merchandising and their
amazing.
buying is so like dead on. It's like, and
Oh
it
my
takes a
gosh.
lot to like really get me like, like where like I call
Totally.
it gobsmacked. That's what the president of Anthro used to call it, like gobsmacked. And it's like
Oh,
it
I
takes
love
a
that.
lot to gobsmack me because I see
Yeah.
everything with what I do, but Pigment
Yeah.
does such a good job.
And I love that their name is Pigment and they just do like this amazing job with like their color
Oh my
stories.
God.
Like they're
I mean,
incredible.
they're Christmas because they buy from the line that I merchandise for.
Oh, cool.
We had these crazy, weird, funky colored flocked Santas that were like
Uh-huh.
super vintage looking.
Yeah.
You had to buy them in an assortment. And I was like, what do you do with these? And they bought them and they colored them all out. So they had the blue and green ones with all the
Uh-huh.
blue and green other I mean, it was just so well done. I mean, that's the stuff I look
Amazing.
at where it's like, oh my God, like
Totally. They
really
do
well done.
such a good job with like their color stories. They're like looking at everything that's in a photo. It's like, wow, like there's so much to just get lost in.
Yeah, and the fact they cross merchandise apparel into that as well,
Yeah,
I was really impressed with. And I've still yet to make it down there. And it's
I
like
know.
we've
I would
been
love to go.
I need to go down. But
Yeah.
well, I am so grateful for you spending this time with us and
Oh,
telling us about your store and your story. Because like I said, your Instagram is beautiful, the store is
thank
beautiful, and I
you.
cannot wait to see the new reinvention of the new Botanic and Luxe.
Thanks, Michelle. I know it's so nice to meet you. And yeah, I hope that we get to meet in person someday.
I definitely, because I'm going to be coming up there because we've started doing this thing called retail whore road trips.
Oh,
So
okay.
we were up in that area in Oakland and San, like a couple, I want to say like in May,
Uh-huh.
and the filming didn't work out. It's just like where we were supposed to film, everyone's having troubles like hiring people. So I don't want to put any
Totally.
extra stress on the store owner. I'm like, we'll just come out. So the plan is we come back there because I want to go to the Socksmith store.
Oh, yeah. I listened to that podcast. That was really
Yeah.
great.
I love that brand and their
Yeah.
store I've heard so many things about. So we're going to be up in that area. So when we do come up, I'll reach out for sure.
Yay. Please do. That would be so fun.
I will. Thanks so much.